If you've spent any time in online Pokemon communities, you've probably come across this quote from Pokemon Gold and Silver. It's said by Elite Four member Karen. But nobody will tell you that it's complete nonsense faster than people like me who do hardcore Nuzlocke challenges, in which encountering strong enough Pokemon is the difference between victory and losing months of progress, because you had to start over. For the longest time, the cynical gamer in me resetting on runs for hundreds of attempts would cringe if somebody brought this quote up in the comments of my winning attempts. But today, I want to tell you a story that, while not convincing me that the quote has any truth to it, changed my perspective on what it means to me forever. Maybe I can do the same for you. Please keep it in mind as I tell you a tale of 3 Nuzlocke encounters. Act 1. The Frog Prince. Meet Croagunk. Croagunk is my Petalburg City encounter, caught about 10 minutes into my second attempt of the Pokemon Run and Bun Hardcore Nuzlocke. Normally, this is where I'm supposed to explain to you all the ways in which Run and Bun qualifies as the hardest Pokemon mod ever made, but really all you need to know is that at the time of recording this video, only 19 people have beaten this challenge, despite the game being out for over a year now. These Nuzlockes take literal months to complete because the 400 plus handcrafted fights of the game need to be planned out one by one, sometimes taking multiple days to just plan out one fight. Fainted Pokemon are obviously dead forever, lose a single fight, and get sent back all the way to the beginning, just how I was on attempt 1. These games take so much planning that most players don't actually fish here in Petalburg City like I did. It's considered a bad play. This is why Croagunk's story is interesting. You see, most players opt to skip this ugly amphibian encounter table for the chance of catching a Primarina here by surfing after they get their 5th gym badge. Remember, in a Nuzlocke you can only catch the first encounter in every area. The beautiful Princess Primarina is considered one of the best Pokemon in the game and has been present on multiple Elite Four teams. Yes, Run and Bun players start thinking about the Elite Four on the 7th encounter of the game. But not me. This is my second attempt. I've never even had 5 badges. I'm young blood, I'm inexperienced, and I need all the early game help I can get. Enter the ugly frog. Delay here for Froakie or Poplio? Bro, I ain't getting to... I'm not gonna have surf. You're never gonna believe this, but Toxicroak has not yet made a Run and Bun Hall of Fame. But that's okay. I'm here to learn, not to stress over each and every encounter. And if I can find a use for it, well, that's just an extra little bonus. He came to the first boss fight of the game, a useful poison type to have against the Aqua Grunt on Route 104, and he picked up his first kill in the second boss fight, the back-to-back against the 2 Aqua Grunts in Slateport Museum, where the player goes next. It was able to completely tank a Venoshock from the lead Marini in the second fight and take it out with a Mudshot. It was also able to switch in safely on a rollout and prevent Whirlipede from doubling it and giving it to the next guy. This was a pretty ragtag group of encounters. I had what Chimchar runners consider the wrong starter, I had the wrong Petalburg encounter, and the Breloom whose IVs were my zip code. Oh my god! Bro didn't have to leak my area code like that! What the f is this? But the run kept on moving. Croagunk's moment to shine was in Brawly's gym, the first one the player takes on in this ROM, and the first big reset point of this challenge. My first attempt was left in a very bad position after Brawly killed my starter here. Croagunk's access to multiple priority moves put him in the unique position of finishing off Hitmontop by attacking over an incoming Mach Punch with Fake Out, baiting in what is maybe Brawly's scariest Pokemon, Lopunny. The strategy implemented here by Brawly is quite brilliant. Lopunny carries the move Retaliate, which doubles in power if the user just came in after another Pokemon fainted. This is scary enough to deal with, as 140 base power boosted by Stab is no joke, especially at this point of the game, but Lopunny's held item is where the real magic lies. The AI in this game does not like switching out, so really the player would only have to deal with 1 boosted Retaliate per fight. However, Lopunny is carrying an eject button. This means the first time Lopunny takes damage, she's automatically switched out, and Brawly gets to choose a Pokemon with a better matchup and swap it in for free, keeping Lopunny in the back for a second Retaliate. Lopunny had previously been sent back by my Quillfish's Revenge and is sitting at a sliver of HP. Normally, the extremely well-designed Run and Bun AI would never send in a Pokemon that immediately dies to one of yours, but it is not quite smart enough to know about priority moves. This allows Croagunk to pick up an extremely rare chain kill on both Hitmontop and Lopunny and dodge the dreaded second Retaliate altogether, all while sitting at full HP and managing to soften up Brawly's terrifying bulk up, rest, shed skin Scraggy. The frog might be ugly, but he's got hands. And while Croagunk will be our main focus for this part of the story, there are some other noteworthy encounters on this run, brought to you by longtime channel sponsor NordVPN. My starter pick for this run is Turtwig, which is in line with my preferences for early game power in this attempt. It is the strongest starter in the early game, but falls off later. Chimchar is the best late game, and Piplup is the all-rounder, being decent throughout. Runners can pick between any of the starters, they're all viable. Just like NordVPN users can freely switch between servers in dozens of countries to avoid geo-blocking on websites. Vivillon is perhaps my strongest early game Pokemon, not just able to rake through Brawly's gym trainers, but also one of the few Pokemon that gets Protect, which is a fantastic fantastic tool in double battles. Just like NordVPN can be a tool to protect you from admins of public Wi-Fi networks like the ones at cafes or airports seeing what websites you visit. Finally, there's Sizzlipede, whose unique fire bug typing and early evolution make it a perfect showing of the power of Galar Pokemon. The latest generation implemented in Run and Bun. And if you want to enjoy the latest TV shows and movies that your favorite streaming service has to offer, NordVPN gives you the ability to access those streaming sites and see the catalog that they offer anywhere in the world, so you get the full value out of the services that you already pay for. NordVPN has a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not happy with them, and 24/7 customer support if you run into any issues. Head over to nordvpn.com/pChal to get a huge discount and 4 months for free. Thanks to Nord for sponsoring this video. Last time, the run was already in trouble after Brawly, with 2 deaths including my starter after Gym 1. This time, I didn't lose a Pokemon until Roxanne, who is the second gym leader in Run and Bun, and it was the eminently expendable Delcatty. You have to have some deaths in the early game of Run and Bun if you want safe lines on these boss fights. It is a general theme of Run and Bun that sacrificing for safer fights is what keeps your runs going. The only death in the Watson section came against the man himself. I had to let Roserade go down after using Worry Seed to get rid of Electros's Levitate ability, opening the door for Seismitoad to take it down with Earth Power. With that, I'd arrived at the section of the game, or split as we call it, that decimated attempt number 1. The Norman split. Norman is the 4th, not the 5th gym leader in Pokemon Run and Bun. There's a nasty rival fight on the way to Norman, and his Sceptile took down my Togedemaru with a critical hit Leaf Storm on attempt 1. The timing could not have been worse, as Togedemaru is one of the best Pokemon against Norman's normal type assault. I needed some ridiculous luck just to get out of Norman alive, and the run was limping from then on. Attempt 2's rival fight, however, was deathless. F***ing easy, man! What? Who the f*** said Cycling Road Rival was harder on Turtle? Even though Norman is still the most difficult fight of the early game, I felt much more confident going in with Togedemaru this time around. I led the fight with Clawitzer, one of the reasons why this split had gone so well. Mega Launcher gives it crazy power, enough to take down Porygon 2 with Aura Sphere into Aqua Jet. But things got awkward right away, thanks to a pair of Thunder Waves, and I already knew I'd have to steer. For now though, things looked fine. Torterra shredded Azumarill with Giga Drains, even finding a crit to stay at full health. Togedemaru turned Chinchino's multi-hit moves against it with Iron Barbs. Musharna's Psyshock missed a range against Meloetta, however, and things quickly got very scary. As Norman's terrifying buffed attack Huge Power Diggersby stares down my team, seeing 2-hit KOs or 1-hit KOs on all of them, I need to make a decision. Tempo must be reset in my favor in order for Torterra to be able to stand a chance against Big Chungus. And for a brief moment, in his hometown out of all places, the Frog Prince gets to be the hero that saves the run. I won't have a Primarina, but at least I'll actually have a pretty good run past Norman. And as the old Nuzlocke saying goes, if you're sacking on Brawly, you have no heart. If you're not sacking on Norman, you have no brain. With our first protagonist gone after having saved the run, I still had to get out of the fight, and I knew I was going to make another hard choice. Clawitzer had been huge in the split, and it's hard to match the raw power of Mega Launcher boosted attacks, but in the end, I decided Musharna might be more valuable down the line. I also could have made a gutsy call and tried to switch in Alolan Golem on the Pidgeot here, but that was risking the whole run on a 1 in 4 because Pidgeot was using a random move, and I was not willing to do that this deep into the fight. It would have worked out, but who cares? Despite how little faith I had in this run at first, I was already past Norman and zooming towards my personal best just a few fights later. My box was in much better shape than the first time I was here, and with a little encounter luck, I could turn this into a real run. If attempt 1 was a dragging corpse at this point, attempt 2 was like a normal guy. Just like a normal guy walking around. I don't know, I'm not very good at metaphors. It's out of the frying pan and into the fire though, as I immediately have to take on the Wind Straits, the gateway to the mid-game. This 4-trainer gauntlet is just meant to wear you down for the last fight against Grandma Vicky. Pretty much anything that takes damage in the first 3 fights of this gauntlet will be in range of her huge power Mega Medicham. Every decision in the first 3 fights has to be made with that in mind. Sometimes I make decisions in a Nuzlocke that I know won't have an impact for hours down the line. This time, I saw one of my decisions pay off almost immediately. Musharna was the perfect answer for the Demon Medicham, tanking high jump kick and healing off the damage with Moonlight until Medicham finally took itself out with a miss. I was ready to admit it. Things were getting real. And it was not in small part thanks to Toxicroak's sacrifice. The desert was the only thing between me and my personal best. Attempt number 1 died on the very last fight before I would have made it to Fall Arbor Town and take on the next boss fight, Vito Windstrait. Last time I had to grind through these fights, steering with an all but empty box and trying my hardest to get as far as I could. This time, I breezed through. Staraptor carried, Scentiscorch and Togedemaru put in work like they had been the whole time, and I spent about as much time yapping about my Japanese dining experiences as I did looking at the screen. Worst thing you ate in Japan? There's they're not called isekai, but something that sounds really similar. Just like bars that also serve like bar food. That was the only place that I went to that served like pretty shit food. You get like a little compartment that you sit in with like 4 friends and they bring you like drinks and they're all, it's like infinite drinks and like it's like drink as much as you want for one price and like a certain time span, but they're all watered down as fuck. and then they bring you really shitty bar food. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. I had to cook to get through Rich Boy Santos and his choice Scarf Typhlosion, and even then the only line I could find still forced me to dodge a double crit from Typhlosion's Eruption in the Sun. And I used what I learned about double battle AI to cook up some pretty cool strategies. Vivillon was a menace in these fights. And now it was time to take on Vito. Let's do this. Hit the range. Nice. Very, very nice. I think this is guaranteed knockoff. Crab Hammer, please. Use your water gem. Okay. That's a little bit f***ing bad. I need him to Crab Hammer before I switch. Good. Dead to crit. Very dead to crit. Okay, that's fine. The poison, I think, f***ed me, because I get less leech life value now. Oh, and I didn't use my citrus, and I'm probably switching into knockoff. So he can Aqua Jet. I think regardless, this is the play. Unlucky. Here's the problem. He sees like 1 killing Iron Head roll and 2 killing Body Press rolls from regular Aggron. So if we go Quillfish, it usually dies, but we usually win. Vivillon dies if he finds the 1 killing Iron Head roll. He has to get the roll and then actually still pick the move over Earthquake, right? And over Body Press in theory. Vivillon's too valuable, man. F it. EQ? EQ? Okay, I take it. It's okay. It's okay. It is what it is, man. It's a bittersweet victory. Bug flying types are really important. But with that, I'd set a new personal best. I wasn't ready to believe in this run just yet, but the win over Vito opened up a good chunk of encounters, and if I could just find a few guys, this attempt could go somewhere. I have something to help me out with encounters, and that is Magnet Pull. The Magnet Pull ability is one of the few ways I have to manipulate encounter luck. When I lead with a Magnet Pull Pokemon, in this case Magneton, in a grass patch that has a steel type, like in this case Corviknight, the game will first flip a coin. If I win the flip, the encounter will be one of the steel types from the encounter table. And in this case, since Corviknight's the only one, that'll be my encounter. Corviknight is one of the best defensive Pokemon in this entire game. If I lose the flip, the encounter table rolls normally. A mere 5% for the Corviknight, so I'm really praying for the Magnet Pull. Come on, show me a guy. Come on, man. Even beyond the over 50% chance I had of drawing Corviknight, there were so many ways that this could have gone in my favor. Ribombee and Talonflame are both very good Pokemon that I would have happily taken. Staraptor, Roserade, Mudsdale, and Sirfetch'd were all duplicates, which would have let me take my chances with Magnet Pull again. Vespiquen and Ledian were basically the only busts here, a 20% chance after the failed Magnet Pull, and a mere 10% chance including the Magnet Pull. Oh, and this one's the worst one of the two. What a joke, huh? This wasn't even the first failed Magnet Pull of the run. Earlier, while looking for Excadrill, I got Onix and Baltoy. Not the guys I was looking for at all. I had opportunities to really build this run into something, but the game just kept saying no, and instead gave me a minus speed Ledian, whose only good move in the entire game is Encore, a move that's useless if you have bad speed. Ledian for this stage of the game, for how brutal the difficulty is, was a horrendous encounter. How was I going to make this work? Act 2. The Four-Armed Jester. Maxie is the next boss fight here, but every run and bun runner knows that the next true boss fight is actually Tabitha, the fight before. Both of these fights have terrifying mega Pokemon as their anchors. The Tabitha fight is scary right away. She leads a Torkoal threatening Explosion, Solar Beam, Earth Power, and of course Sun Boosted Flamethrower, and if that wasn't enough, it's holding a Quick Claw. You can already tell this isn't going to be a riskless fight. So a lot of shit can happen here. This can be Solar Beam crit, right? This can be first turn Explosion, right? This is so much can happen here. Claydol, you're so f***ing likely to die, my friend. It is like, I cannot even list all the ways that you can die here. The Quick Claw didn't proc on turn 1, but I wasn't out of the woods yet. The worst thing that can happen here is Quick Claw, Solar Beam, High Roll. Okay. Give it to me. Not what I want to see! That's not what I want to f***ing see, man! Oh, we lost. We pretty much lost. I don't have much of a choice, but go to something that dies if Torkoal's Quick Claw activates again. I go to Kara, who can at least bait an Espeon next and keep me on track for the rest of the fight. I just have to pray. Okay, I need to dodge Solar Beam or we lose. Okay, we're still in this. I'm pretty sure this always kills. With that, I was able to stabilize. Battle Armor Drapion kept this monstrous Espeon in check, barely surviving its Life Orb Weather Ball with no risk of crit. Turtonator was able to wall out Victory Bell, and Mudsdale held off Armaldo. It was just down to Mega Absol. With a little luck, I was going to turn this disaster into a one-death fight. Don't crit, don't freeze. Unlucky. Sorry, horse. I couldn't save the horse, but Kara held on and finished the fight. I got pretty lucky here, but with as bad as the RNG was, I'm happy to have only lost 2 Pokemon, including one that was proving pretty worthless in Claydol. Look at what all these heroic encounters can achieve fighting for their life, as Ledian watches from the box. He's just not made for this run. All that, though, was just the opening act. Now I had to deal with Maxi. To start, I have to navigate around the hazards his Crustle wants to lay down, and the red card it's holding to force us into switching into them. I led with Surfetched, knocked off the red card, and I have to bust out the ruler to make sure I execute everything properly. So he's at like, what, 38? Break does 33 to 39. Knockoff crit with no item is 33 max. So this is knockoff, then defog, then break. This is what I meant when I said we need finesse. Yep, exactly. Perfect. And now we just defog until he attacks us. Cool. So far so good, and the fight remained on track. Dreadnought came in on Aerodactyl and knocked it out with Liquidation. Musharna got in on Como and took it out with 4 times super effective Moonblasts. Drapion switched in harmlessly on Zarude's Darkest Lariat and was able to heal off most of its damage with another 4 times super effective attack, Leech Life. And then, an unexpected hero emerged. Alright, fine. Ledian didn't do anything here except come in and switch out. Its resistance profile was just kind of what I needed here, but the dead Vivillon in my box would have fulfilled this exact same role. He's only here because of his typing, saving me from being punished for my bad decisions on Veto. It just so happened to be the perfect pivot to bring in Kingdra, which easily cleaned up the Mega Camerupt. Drapion was able to come back in and Toxic Stall Maxi's final Pokemon, a potentially infuriating Wobbuffet, and I'd taken down one of Run and Bun's biggest run killers. It wouldn't be long, however, for the Jester to pop up again. Right after Maxi, the game throws a double battle at you. Luckily for me, Ledian was born to switch into ground types like the lead Gliscor in this fight. It took the first and only KO with a U-turn to chip the final health point off of the Focus Sash Stonjourner that took its place. From there, it was simple to clear the 2 remaining Pokemon on the left side. Ledian even came in and ate a Leaf Storm from the final monster Superior before I put the final nail in the coffin. But this fight was so niche, and he would be confined to the box for the next fire Pokemon ridden section of the game. My team did well in Mount Chimney, but I still felt like I needed something else if I was going to get through Flannery. Yet another of Run and Bun's major choke points. Luckily, I still had one more encounter left before I made it to Lava Ridge Gym. It's gonna be Druddigon, guys. I had to break it to you. Which one is that? Ooh, Tough Claws. 110 base speed, 117 attack. He's a guy. In Lava Ridge, I get an egg with a Gen 3 starter and roll one of the slowest and squishiest Tricos possible. Not ideal, but Torterra's ground type makes it take too much damage from all the solar beams in Flannery's gym, including 3 on Flannery's own team. I'm glad to have another grass type on board. And it also has one of the most useful tools that's not available to a lot of Pokemon at all in Run and Bun, Detect. Detect and Protect are invaluable for double battles in this game. Double battles like Flannery, who is a nasty double battle that practically requires at least 1 sacrifice. I couldn't find a way out of this one without 2. Dreadnought's usefulness is limited beyond this point anyway. Lycanroc is one I'd really love to keep around, but Flannery asks for blood. It's been a while, Flannery. It's been a very long time since I've seen you. Feels a bit different. Feels a bit different from last time. Alright. Hardstone Accelerock always kills. And this is always Sludge Bomb into Sceptile. It sees fast kill, so it can't fake out. And we're not going to Detect. We're going to go into Togedemaru. Let's see if I did all of this right. The Candy on Lycanroc should lead to Talonflame coming in after Charizard. because Entei no longer sees a kill. Sun is up. We can no longer make this Salazzle Sludge Bomb like ever. Okay, that's one down. Sludge Bomb the Togi. Very nice. Excel Rock kills this. Fake this out to prevent the Heat Wave and break the Focus Sash. Okay, this is where things get very, very, very wonky. I could kill Salazzle right now, but I don't want to do that because I want to wait for Entei to come out later. I could high horsepower the Marowak for maximum damage, but the issue is, first, if I crit, I kill. Second, I go after Salazzle, who's currently Heat Waving. So I'm going to actually Excel Rock to at least get some confirmed damage at this Marowak before I get burned. If I don't get burned on this or the next Heat Wave, this sets up for Rock Slide to just kill both. Togi is going to Spiky Shield. Marowak is always targeting Togedemaru. It has a kill on Lycanroc, but because I gave Togedemaru the Iron Ball, Togedemaru is slower than Marowak, and AI prefers a fast kill over slow kill. So it's going to use Flare Blitz, or Bone Club, or f*** it, even Poltergeist into Togedemaru. So we just Spiky Shield. No burn. No burn. No burn. Okay, good. We have to dodge another one. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Please, 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 please. Yes! Okay. It's not over. It can get really weird now, but we need to sack both of these guys for this to work cleanly. There's a lot of weird shit that can happen. Entei sees kill with like every move except Extreme Speed into Lycanroc. Incineroar sees kill with like every move, but it's slower so it can fake out. Dreadnought is dead to Solar Beam. So much random shit can happen. We just have to get as much damage on the Entei as we possibly can. So we're going to Excel Rock and we're going to Rock Tomb. Getting this damage is actually like so good here. Okay. That Solar Beam is Dreadnought. See you later, Turtle. I think that's confirmed both dead. That is honestly the best result. That's so good, actually. Incineroar using this Overheat now is so perfect. Because now there's no overlapping ranges between Overheat and Darkest Lariat on Caracosta. So we can actually perfectly pivot. So this guy's going to come in. He's like the only mon I have that doesn't get one-shot by Entei. He's going to chip away at the Entei, and the other side is just going to protect and pivot, getting all the moves into it. We need Incineroar to see as many kills on the other side as possible, because once Tortuga is out, it won't see any more kills, and then it can Darkest Lariat into Turtonator, and then Stone Edge can kill, and then we can get because we have no more damage for Entei. Turtonator is just so good in this gym. It was able to sit on Flannery's final 2 Pokemon, and with that, I'm through 5 badges with a pretty healthy box. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Ledian is still in the box. I still have no Corviknight. I have no Primarina. I've lost some Pokemon, a few that I really miss. But with the win over Flannery, I've unlocked a few new areas for encounters. Maybe they can turn this into a run. Hisuian Electrode gave me an amazing fast Volt Switcher with its grass type, giving it much more utility than its original form. Barraskewda, another excellent fast but frail attacker, a very useful Pokemon as long as I can use it carefully. Lantern and its Volt Absorb give us a nice immunity to use for AI manipulation. The Magnet Pull Gods heard my prayers, and I finally found the Corviknight I've been looking for. Not a bad group at all. Sharpedo felt like the only real miss in this batch of encounters, but I also didn't feel like I'd found the guy, the Pokemon that would give this run the kick into gear that it needed. Well, at least, I have Ledian. Between Drapion and all my steel types, I'm constantly baiting ground moves, and Ledian actually has a fine enough base speed stat to take advantage of Encore. But its biggest value definitely came in double battles. Even outside of gyms, these typically take the most time and energy to plan, and Ledian had the surprising perfect synergy for multiple fights. Take Psychic Dayton and Ninja Boy Takashi, for example, a fight on the way to the Weather Institute. So we want Fake Out into the... Fake Out technically does more damage than Focus Blast here. It's always Fake Out into Drapion because he sees I have Fast Kill from Shiftry, and Orangoose, he's a fast kill into Togedemaru, so he's going to Focus Blast. We want Focus Blast to go into Clefable. Actually, the damage difference is so negligible. I think I'd rather avoid the drop chance. It's like a 1% damage difference, so I'm going to have Clefable take the Fake Out. That's what I wanted. That's also what I wanted. Encore this. Encore this. Moonblast, U-turn to kill. Torterra to kill the incoming Wailord. Okay. Ooh, that's not good though. Let's go to Ledian. I think, because that gives me the most options the next turn. And make sure that we kill this Wailord. Yeah, now his Encore ends, but it doesn't matter because we just U-turn and Leech Life for the kill. Easy. Route 119 will not give me the encounter that will save the run, but that's okay. This is where I receive the cast form for taking down Team Aqua inside Weather Institute, and in Run and Bun, the cast form comes holding a Life Orb. The Life Orb grants 30% power boost in exchange for 10% recoil on every attack, and that damage will absolutely be necessary for some of the fights down the line. The next fight though is where I feel my poor magnet pull luck coming back to haunt me. I could really use Excadrill against Admin Shelly's team, which includes a Nihilego and a Lantern. I'll just have to get it done with my Excadrill at home. A burn from Shelly's Scald Lantern into my Kingdra puts me in a terrible spot. It's now dead to any crit Thunderbolt from this Lantern. I know I need to keep this thing alive for the very next fight, a nasty double battle against my rival, but I really don't want to sacrifice my Quillfish here. So it's between risk Kingdra crit before the one fight where Kingdra is really important, or sack both Golem and Quillfish. I decide to put my faith in the Kingdra. Fuck it. You're the GOAT! He saved his boy Quillfish. Golem finally goes down, a Pokemon I'd expected to sacrifice much earlier in the run, and probably should have sacrificed on Veto. His sacrifice here enables Torterra to come in and take down Mega Blastoise with Giga Drain into Woodhammer and finish off Lantern with an Earthquake. Holy f***. Jesus, what a fight. Now you get to see why I was so worried about this next fight. It's in permanent rain and electric terrain, because it's a thunderstorm on the bridge, right? Environmental storytelling. This is why Kingdra specifically was required for this fight, as I need a swift swimmer to keep up with all the beasts on the rival's team. This is considered one of the hardest fights in Pokemon Run and Bun. With Kingdra around, I have an absolutely nasty first turn that can put me on a strong path to victory. Alright, Heliolisk, because this Kingdra is the goddamn GOAT, despite being minus Spit F, just barely doesn't see a kill with Thunder here. And because we pre-damaged, plus Life Orb Recoil always exactly sees a kill on Sirfetch'd. So Sirfetch'd is going to swap for Seismitoad into the incoming Thunder. And then, this is the big payoff, we delayed Seadra to after Veto until we were in Fall Arbor Town so we could get Ice Beam to do this. Should be Metagross. But due to the damage increase from the Soft Sand I'd equipped on Seismitoad last minute, I'd misread what the AI would do after I brought it in on turn 2, and suddenly I found myself in a situation. I was staring down the rival's Blastoise when I was expecting Metagross. The Pokemon Seismitoad was supposed to deal with. Time to steer. I don't think I can ever get back into a position, because remember, Seismitoad is potentially switching into Muddy Water right now. And because Kingdra ate the Fake Out, it's also dead to Heliolisk Thunder. But it's like random move from Heliolisk on the fucking Sirfetch'd slot too. So hope for no Muddy Water this turn. Or at least no drop on Kingdra. Good roll. Unlucky. Don't drop. You're kidding. Oh yeah, dry skin. Dude. Oh no. Terrain Pulse one time, man. Nice. It's always Thunder here. I could Hurricane because I skipped the accuracy check. I think that kills. I'm pretty sure. 16 from Hurricane, 33 from Thunder. Wait, this is free. Oh wait, Lantern is slower though. I have to switch. Thunder. Switch the frog. It's the only viable play. Every time. Dude, come on. It actually killed. Holy sh! Lantern! You're the f***ing GOAT! What? That must have been max roll. Okay. Jesus. We're like so not out of the woods. I didn't even think about that. Okay, that's good. This is fine. I think, yeah, I think you always target Metagross. Knock off the Assault Vest into Thunder always kills. This was like the original plan. Okay. I think this can kill if it high rolls. You're the GOAT. 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 Lantern can't miss. Thunder skips accuracy check. Oh, dude, this Lantern. Did it get 3 frags? Crazy. Oh, another riskless fight, boys. After a few much simpler fights, in one of which Ledian really shows its full potential, good job, buddy, it's finally time for a new encounter. A new protagonist. An encounter that would make the weak and niche Ledian completely obsolete, ending his middling story before it ever began. Act 3. The Knight in Shining Feathers. Not only does Hawlucha have ridiculous stats and access to Encore, it also has the Unburden ability, which doubles your speed if you use up an item. You can completely abuse this ability by applying a status condition to Hawlucha before a fight and equipping a healing berry to it. This immediately triggers as you send it out, doubling its speed. This can outspeed anything in the game. Hawlucha made its first appearance in Winona's gym and showed just one small piece of what makes it so broken. So yeah, we have a really fast Encore user in Hawlucha now. It's pretty sick. Yep, switch AI. Completely fine. We'll just do this again once this comes out again. And we get some extra damage on Crobat. That is so much! Wait, Hawlucha is so broken, what? Winona would get the same treatment. I had a great team for this fight, and was able to cleanly navigate around her threats. Reckless Scarf Staraptor, a Quiver Dance Volcarona that can spiral out of control, a ridiculously bulky Celesteela, and Serene Grace Shaman Sky all went down. Without Hawlucha, I don't think any of that would have mattered. Her final Pokemon, Mega Altaria, is an absolute tank, can recover with Roost, and has great coverage moves. But one of those coverage moves will be its downfall. See, this Mega Altaria has Earthquake, and that means Hawlucha gets to go to work. The reason Scourge is here, the only reason, is it's the only Pokemon that only baits Earthquake from Mega Altaria. And I think once that happens, I think you guys can guess how we're going to finish this fight. All right. Earthquake. And we win. God, this Hawlucha is broken. If I didn't have this, I don't think I could have ever won here, by the way. How could Ledian ever keep up with this monster of an encounter? Letting off infinitely faster Encores thanks to Unburden, resisting more moves, having better bulk, and most importantly, the ability to actually deal an insane amount of damage. I've already destroyed my old personal best, and now I have 6 badges. But let's put things in perspective. Winona, realistically, is the halfway point of this game. There's only 2 more badges left before the Elite Four, sure, but there's lots of boss fights to take care of, difficult rival fights, and fights against ridiculously strong Team Aqua and Magma trainers that take place in permanent Tailwind, permanent Magma Storm, and permanent Aurora Veil. Hawlucha has a lot of work left in front of him to carry me to victory. At least he'll have some help. I had the best possible encounter at the Scorched Slab, adding Litwick to the box. I was already getting confident looking forward to the next boss trainer, another rival fight in Lily Cove City. It's a vicious team with Melmetal and Galarian Articuno joining that terrifying Mega Blaziken. I kept pushing towards Lily Cove rival. On the way, I got to show off Hawlucha at its absolute finest. And now this is always Earthquake, and exactly only Earthquake. So we're going to go into this Frozen Chicken. It just feels so wrong. Boom. Aspir Berry immediately triggers, giving us Unburden. He Earthquakes. We Encore. Phoenix has thawed and is now ready to fly. And you know what? Why not give him a little bit of this? I think this kills. Not quite. Beautiful. Another one for the Hawlucha data. This thing is so broken, bro. Before I take on the Lily Cove rival, I get another encounter. The next major choke point in this run is one that has destroyed many players' attempts in the past. The tag battle against Archie at Mount Pyre, where you fight together with your rival Shell. This fight forces you to team up with Shell for a double battle, meaning you only get to bring 3 Pokemon. Her Pokemon definitely don't carry their weight, and you wipe if you lose all 3 of your own. The most successful strategy for this fight is a simple one. You go boom. But I have a problem. I don't have any Pokemon with Explosion. Golem was probably my best one, and that was definitely a required sacrifice. I decide to go for the Surf encounter here in Lily Cove because it's my best chance at getting a Alolan Muck, many runners' boomer of choice for this fight. It's a 75% chance. Pretty good odds. Me. God damn it! That's certainly not great, but it's not going to be a problem for a while, and all I can do for now is focus on the fight in front of me. Now it's time for that vicious Lily Cove rival fight. It probably won't shock you to hear that Hawlucha is a significant part of my plan for this fight, but what might surprise you is to see this guy coming along. I open the fight with the tired and true Frozen Chicken Gambit. Get Hawlucha to double speed, and let it run wild on the lead Garchomp. I pivot through Magnezone to get Chandelure in to blast the Melmetal with Overheat, and then I get Surfetched in to take yet another first impression kill on Weavile. So far, so good. Time for the weak and expendable to take some hits for our hero Hawlucha. Because of the Unburdened strategy, Hawlucha couldn't carry a Prism Berry for the Dynamic Punch confusion here. Ledian has to step in. Normally, Run and Bun AI will switch out when they're encored into an ineffective move, like a fighting move against a ghost type. But this Chandelure has Shadow Tag, meaning Ledian has just locked this Machamp into a 2-hit KO from Chandelure's Heat Wave. And now, it's time for the scary part. Perfect. Okay, don't Calm Mind. Nice. I'm Lum. I'm fine. Okay, so Magnezone guaranteed lives, I think. I'm not dead to crit. It doesn't really matter, and I have Lumberry. There's nothing that can actually happen this turn. I was trying to see if there's a line where I can save Ledian, but there's just not. Alright, I found no other line here than to sack Ledian, because the problem is if I go Dragonite now and he crits on one of the 2 moves he uses on him, we just lose. This will be the last appearance from the Jester, whose era is long over. Ledian's sacrifice secures a guaranteed victory in the diabolical boss fight, bringing my second attempt to even greater heights than I ever could have imagined. I feel powerful, as weak Pokemon in my box are being progressively replaced by strong ones. It's time for Mount Pyre, the area that I'm pretty sure will be this run's grave if I can't cook up something absolutely diabolical for Archie at the peak. Mount Pyre started off simply enough. Holicha was still carrying my team, and the first few fights went without issue. But as soon as I approached the Aqua Grunts, I knew things were going to get significantly more difficult. Archie looms over everything, but I can't overlook the next 3 fights. All these Team Aqua members on the mountaintop benefit from permanent Tailwind, meaning all of their speeds are doubled. And if that wasn't enough, on the next 3 fights, the 12 Pokemon I face will have combined 3 Focus Bands, a Bright Powder, a King's Rock, and a Scope Lens. Even if your plan is on point, this game has lots of opportunities to just say no and send you back to the truck. How am I feeling about this one? All right, one more single battle with, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I start the next fight with my first Mega Evolution of the whole run. It's been a turtle run from start to finish, and it's time for Pokemon's OG turtle to join the action. The first opponent is an Inteleon with both Light Screen and Reflect. I gave Blastoise a mixed set to try to bait the Inteleon into using both screens, and it worked. I was able to just spam Brick Break as he fruitlessly tried to set up screens. But the 3 remaining Pokemon, a brutal Guts Facade Luxray, a King's Rock Cloyster that tries to flinch you with multi-hit moves and skill link, and a horrifying Sniper Drapion that tries to crit you to death, forced me to employ my most devious AI manipulation strats yet. It is Flame Orb, Guts, Luxray, and Tailwind with insane coverage. Luckily, we got this guy. So this is always Zing Zap, which is the average result that could have happened here. We need to account for everything though. Like this could have been random move and whatever. We're Battle Armor, that's really, or Shell Armor, that's really important for this because of how these damage ranges are going to work out. So that's one Zing Zap. He's now in Guts. He wants to Superpower me or Facade me. We're going to drop a Draco. There's the Facade. This can never kill me, but it takes me really low. But we equipped, instead of Citrus, Iapapa here. That's really important. Iapapa always triggers at 25 instead of 50, but heals 50 instead of 25. Because we're Shell Armor, we can ensure that we always go below 25% without risking crits. Now we're healthy enough to where we're always baiting exactly Facade or Superpower still. If we were lower,
Luxray, please.
It could be like random move and then this wouldn't work. So we go to Chandy. Now we can guarantee that he crunches. Take it like a beast. Now we're baiting in Cloyster. Shell Smash, Cloyster, and Tailwind with Skill Link and King's Rock. That's about as fun as it sounds to calc against. So this is almost always Rock Blast, sometimes Icicle Spear. We had to candy Lucario, Rare Candy, to bring him over the level cap to ensure that he kills with Vacuum Wave here. And we had to pre-damage him just enough so that if this is minimum rolls on all Rock Blasts, we later still beta kill from Drapion. That's why it's low HP and that's why it's burned, because we want to take a little bit of damage over time from Life Orb and Burn after we kill the Cloyster. And because we're burned, so we take the damage later instead of early, this means that, like, even if he clicks Icicle Spear here and he crits like 4 of them, we can't actually die. I barely live Life Orb plus Burn. Just barely. I live on, like, 13.
Another day, another subs. Love this, totally appropriate for South America schedule you're doing. Keep it up, Sir Pokemon Poggers.
14 even. Random move, Never Swords Dance. This is Sniper, Scope Lens, Drapion. Battle Armor means no Sniper crits. I think we could have thought a little bit more about just no pre-damage, but I was nearly at Mount Pyre's summit. Just one more double battle before Archie. Anybody who's played VGC in the Sword and Shield era knows to fear a Draco Vision Tailwind. With a combination of Strong Jaw and Fishious Ren's 2x bonus for going before the opponent, this thing can obliterate resisting Pokemon, much less anything that takes neutral damage. But that's exactly what I'll be facing in this fight. Thankfully, I know exactly how to bait the AI. Draco Vicious Fishious Ren went harmlessly into Togedemaru's Spiky Shield, and it dropped immediately to my Dragonite's Draco. Togedemaru, still only at level 62, is baiting both attacks here, and Dragonite's combination of dual Wing Beat and Extreme Speed was enough to take out the Basculin, leaving the rest of the fight as an easy 2v1 for Torterra to finish. I'd spent most of the climb up to Mount Pyre dreading the Archie fight. Alright, that was the last fight we win this attempt. We are done. It's over. It's been fun. I did my research, watching basically every video of the fight I could get my hands on from other runners. I didn't like what I saw. Basically, every successful fight was completed with Pokemon that I simply didn't have. Either because they died earlier in the run, I'd missed the magnet pull, or the roll just didn't go in my favor like with Muck earlier. Even after the downright easy win against the double battle preceding Archie, I just wasn't seeing it. The restriction of only bringing 3 Pokemon and relying on your tag partner's AI was simply too harsh. Hawlucha, however, would be perfect here. With Unburden, he outspeeds most of Archie's Pokemon in Tailwind and one-shots more than half of the team. But this would require me to lead with him, and eventually reset tempo by sacrificing Hawlucha, the strongest Pokemon in my box. Something I wasn't willing to do. After an entire night of planning and calculating, I came up with an unconventional plan that I'd never seen in any of the videos. No explosions, but safer than I ever could have hoped for. Not as safe as the Hawlucha sacrifice, but safe enough to win, and only sacrifice 2 more, ultimately inconsequential and weak Pokemon from my box. The plan was perfect. Turn 1, Archie would kill tag partner Shell's Delcatty, as my Clefable could take Urshifu off the field and bait Dragalge. Shell's Rhyperior would kill Dragalge, as Clefable took 2 moves from the enemy Pokemon using Follow Me, and keeping Rhyperior safe. Clefable would die, and I would send out Lucario, who in turn would bait in Archie's Sharpedo. Lucario with an Endure taking a close combat from the Shark, which would drop his defenses into kill range from Rhyperior. Down at 1 HP, Lucario's Custap Berry, which you only have 1 of in the entire game, would allow him to move first the next turn to take out Rotom Frost and die to Hydreigon in the process, as Rhyperior has yet another turn of being untouched. Finally, Sirfetch'd could easily navigate the endgame position of Stakataka and Hydreigon, securing me a relatively safe victory. Even if some things went wrong, I could probably recover. The line wasn't safe, but it was safe enough and most importantly protected the protagonist of our story, which will continue in the next video, documenting Attempt 2's endeavors in the late game of Pokemon Run and Gun. Except that's not how this story ends. Hawlucha would never be seen again. Because while this line was very strong and protected the knight, it would not be safe enough to protect this run from some of the worst RNG I've ever encountered. Strong Pokemon. Weak Pokemon. That is only the selfish perception of people. Truly skilled trainers should try to win with their favorites. I still think this quote is bullshit if you're playing a challenge like this. You will simply not win if all you use are your favorite Pokemon. But I would lie if I said that I'm immune to picking favorites. My emotions towards Pokemon heavily sway my decision making. When Toxicroak was sacrificed, I wasn't thinking of how much I'd rather have Primarina. At the time, I was thinking of how crucial it was at beating Brawly. When I sacrificed Ledian on the rival fight, it wasn't just a cold, calculated click of a button. This is what I had to say. I can't believe I was disappointed when I got you, and then you popped the f*** off. You're a real one. Am I really that heartless cynic that I give off when doing these runs? Ultimately, my attachment and obsession with Hawlucha's power is what cost me this incredibly promising run. Sacrificing Hawlucha would have given me a safe line. It was probably the correct play, but I didn't make that play. I've been telling myself that I'm immune to sappy quotes about favorite Pokemon, that I always make the correct calculated decision, that I'm different and calculated and cold, and all while my box was filled with Pokemon whose necessary sacrifices genuinely made me feel something. I wasn't able to face the fact that I was attached to Hawlucha, wasn't willing to admit to myself that I avoided sacrificing him because he was my favorite, that my attachment was clouding my judgment. Toxicroak and Ledian's deaths hurt me. I let them hurt me. But I didn't have to think about that because of how weak they were. It was just a natural decision I made. And even though they were weak and ultimately useless and I sacrificed them at the right time, I still think about them to this day. Hawlucha, though, wasn't just powerful. He was, I'm realizing now, my favorite. And that's the real reason I didn't sacrifice him for the greater good of the run. And the lesson to me here is not that it was bad that he was my favorite. What was bad is that I couldn't admit this to myself. Instead, I hid my emotions behind the fact that I didn't want to sacrifice my strongest Pokemon. He was so good, he was so strong, of course I don't want to sacrifice him. His power gave me an excuse to not think about why I was protecting him. Had I embraced my feelings, admitted my attachment, and looked at the decision again through that lens, maybe I could have bid Hawlucha farewell with some sappy speech at the top of Mount Pyre, and maybe then Attempt 2 would still be alive. Truly skilled trainers shouldn't try to win with their favorites, but maybe to become a truly skilled trainer is to admit that you will always have favorites, no matter how old and jaded you think you are.